6 frozen worlds beyond Neptune all lean the same way, and the odds of that being coincidence were calculated at 0.007%. I'm Rook. This is Odd Signal. Tonight, a planet nobody has ever seen, and the argument over whether it is there at all start at the edge of the map. Past Neptune, the solar system does not end. It thins out. Thousands of frozen bodies drift in a wide belt, and beyond that belt, a smaller set of objects swing out on enormous stretched orbits. Astronomers call them extreme trans-neptunian objects. They spend almost all their lives in the dark, far from the sun, moving so slowly that a single lap can take thousands of years. Sedna is the famous one. Even at its closest, it stays well clear of Neptune. Nothing we know of, in the solar system as it exists today, could have thrown it onto that path and then left it alone. So, the far edge already had a problem. Then, it got a shape. In January 2016, 2 astronomers at Caltech published a paper about those distant orbits, Konstantin Batygin and Michael Brown. Brown, for what it is worth, is the man who did more than anyone to get Pluto demoted, so he is not squeamish about redrawing a map. What they noticed was not a single object. It was an alignment. 6 of the most distant known bodies had their closest approach to the Sun pointing in roughly the same direction, and their orbits tilted the same way. Out at that distance, gravity has almost nothing left to grip with. Things should be scattered. These were coned. They ran the numbers on chance. The answer came back at 0.007%. The explanation was simple and enormous. Something massive is out there, hurting them. The first version of that something was a planet of 5 to 10 Earth masses, orbiting hundreds of times farther from the Sun than we are. A 2025 analysis refined it to roughly 4.4 Earth masses at about 290 astronomical units. That is, 290 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun. At that range, one orbit takes on the order of 5,000 years. The last time this thing was where it sits right now, human beings were inventing writing. And here is why we have not simply pointed a telescope at it. Sunlight falls away fast. Out there, a planet that size reflects almost nothing back at us. It is not hiding behind anything. It is just dark. People went looking anyway. Wide sky surveys, infrared satellites, WISE, pan-stars, years of images, no planet. Then, in 2025, a team led by Terry Long-Fan tried a different trick. Instead of hunting for reflected light, they hunted for heat. Even a frozen world glows faintly in the far infrared. So they pulled 2 all-sky infrared surveys off the shelf. One from a satellite that flew in 1983. Another from a satellite that flew in 2006. 23 years apart, which is long enough that a slow, distant planet would visibly shift position between them. They found one candidate, a source sitting in the older survey and gone from that spot in the newer one, and a source in the newer one that had not been there before. The separation implied an object somewhere between 500 and 700 astronomical units out, with a mass between roughly 7 and 17 Earths. 2 dots, 23 years apart, is not an orbit. It is a hint. It needs follow-up before anybody can call it a planet. Now the honest part, because this is where a lot of stories quietly stop. Not everyone thinks the pattern is real. In 2017, a team working with a survey of the outer solar system argued that the clustering is an artifact of how we search. Telescopes do not sweep the sky evenly. We look where the weather is good, where the moon is down, where the light of our own galaxy is not drowning out faint objects. Correct for those biases, they said, and the neat alignment loosens. But Tigan and Brown pushed back hard. That survey covered only 2 narrow strips of sky, they argued, so it never had the sensitivity to see the clustering in the first place. They put the odds of the full data set being a random arrangement at about 0.2%. Both sides are still standing. Nobody has landed the knockout, which is exactly what makes the next few years worth watching. Because this argument has a referee coming. On a mountaintop in Chile sits the Vera Rubin Observatory, carrying the largest digital camera ever built. It is designed to photograph the whole southern sky over and over, night after night, for a decade. It began its commissioning observations in 2025. One astronomer asked what the chances are that it finds this planet if the planet is real. Put the number at 70 to 80%. So let me say plainly where this stands. There is no 9th planet. There is a pattern in a handful of very distant orbits. There is a proposed cause for that pattern. There is one unconfirmed infrared candidate, and there is a serious argument that the pattern itself is a trick of the light. What there also is, for the first time, is a machine that can settle it. That is rare. Most of the stories I tell you have no ending. This has a deadline. Within about 10 years, we will either have a photograph of a new planet in our own solar system, or we will have swept the sky carefully enough to say it was never there. Either answer redraws the map. If it exists, what do you think it is? A giant flung outward when the solar system was young? A world captured from a passing star? Or nothing at all, and we have been reading shapes into noise the way people always do in the dark? Tell me below. Subscribe if you want to be here when somebody finally points that camera at the right patch of sky and finds something staring back. This is Odd Signal. Keep listening for the strange ones.